Dennis Simba tweeted about finding out that her best friend since she was 14 was having an affair with her husband. And we were all shook. Because we knew that they were going through a divorce. She's been very open about that. But we didn't know how deep it was. Like, I remember reading an article about her saying that she was financially abused by her husband when she moved to Germany. And I was like, I'm not shook. I have dated a German, and I know how Germans operate when it comes to money. Okay, so that part was not shocking to me. The part about like financial abuse, I was just like, yeah, you dated a German guy who's probably never lived much outside of Germany, so they probably are very German. But what was funny about it is like reading tweets about people referencing white men playing black women, because they were like, yo, these white dudes are playing our sisters, and they made references to Linda Mdawa, whose husband had cheated on her, Sonia Booth, whose husband had cheated on her, Zaki Isi, but we don't really know. I don't really know what happened in that marriage, why it ended up ending. But I'm like, why does it matter what race these people are? Because the problem starts when we start to romanticize and idealize mixed relationships, and we think this is where all the heaven is. Let me tell you, as a person whose long-term relationships have been with both white men and black men, man will man. A man will cheat on you regardless of whether they're black or white. A man will lie on you regardless of whether they're black or white. A man will promise you the world and then deliver nothing regardless of whether they're black or white. I have dated black men that have been amazing, like treated me so great. But I tend to gallivant a lot, and so my relationships tend to not work out with black men because they like want to capture me, and I'm like, no, I'm for like the world and whatnot. I've also dated white men where I wanted to be captured by this particular white guy, and I was just like, I could see myself, being captured by you. And he was like, I don't want kids. I don't want to get married. And we dated for 3 years. So that was a really long time. Point being, it doesn't matter. If anything, I feel like you are most likely to meet a white guy, in South Africa at least, a white guy who doesn't want kids and marriage, than to meet a black guy who doesn't want kids or marriage. I'm not saying there aren't any, I'm just saying there are very few of them. And my whole point with this video is like, when you're dating somebody, yes, culture plays a role in how they are going to likely do things and behave and respond to things. But at the end of the day, you are dating an individual. You are not dating white people. You are dating a person who happens to be white. So if they happen to not live up to whatever stereotypical views you have of white people in your head, just know it's not like a white people thing. It's just a them thing. When a guy cheats on me, I'm not like, oh, black guys cheat. No, I'm just like, see, Paul cheated on me. Or William cheated on me. Because I've been cheated on by a black guy. I've been cheated on by a white guy. It really doesn't matter what race they're from. I'd say, like, for me, now that I'm older, I am finding it much more easier, or at least since like the 30th of December, I found it a lot more easier to date South African men. Because I'm like, I know a lot more about your cultural background than I do a guy who's from East Europe or something like that. And one thing I do appreciate about South African guy, I digress, is how straightforward they are. It's been so refreshing to go out with somebody who's like, I want a relationship and I want you. Rather than someone where you just go on forever and you're just like, what are we? Anyways, I digress. Point being, men will men. That was the whole point of this video.
Honestly, I thought this was common knowledge that men will always men, that white men are no better option because you have romanticized them into what you think love is, into what you think a partner should be. just because you are not exposed to white men or the culture of what you think whiteness is. And even if you are exposed to white culture, it's most likely that you're exposed to the culture of the Boers. And the Boers themselves are not necessarily white. And when I'm talking about the Boers, guys, I'm talking about white Afrikaners. Even though they themselves are not actually the true Afrikaners, they stole that. They're actually European descendants. They always let us know that fact during apartheid, that they are European descendants. It's just that now it's Kumbaya is Rainbow Nation, and now people just want to identify with being white African and being one Ngalagata, But let's not deviate from the conversation that much. Let's bring it back to what the conversation is about. That even when you're exposed to them, and they are your reference of what you believe whiteness is. And I don't think that in particular is actually whiteness. It's just you fancying an idea of whiteness, and they themselves, they don't behave like white people, really. They just behave like white secondary people, and we've looked to them as white people. They don't have a culture, they don't have an identity. It's another thing. Again, there's another conversation, is diverting. I don't know why I keep on moving to this, but the point is necessary. The point that I'm trying to make, the point that I am trying to make again, is that men were men, and their culture is part of their identity a lot. If you're dealing with a white man, you know that this man has never been exposed to anything black in his life. It doesn't matter if he's from Germany or any else away in Europe, Even if there's black people, it's not like he's exposed to multiple black people. Like, black people, even in Europe, in Britain, they live in specific areas. Even in Paris, in France, they live in specific areas where you'll find black people. It's not like they're really mixed with white people. It's immediately those white people, even the middle class white people, they move out. See, and so men were men, literally. They were men, and they will treat you like nothing. Basically, it's quite a man thing to do. It's not a black thing to do. You don't think that white people are better because of their skin. That's a deadly move to make, because when you do that, when you romanticize man and you romanticize the aspects of him treating you well, you're gonna lose your shit, basically. Literally.